Emma stood frozen in the living room, a tea mug trembling in her hand. The voice she'd heard, light, casual, unmistakably hers, had come from the second floor. Emma, come here. Not a scream, not a threat, just a soft, patient call, as if summoning herself to herself. She tried to laugh it off. Maybe she was overtired. Maybe the silence of the countryside was playing tricks on her ears. The cottage was old, filled with creaking wood and the occasional groan of settling beams. Still, there was something deeply wrong about hearing your own voice when you hadn't spoken. She went upstairs with cautious steps. Each floorboard creaked as if it, too, wanted to warn her. But the hallway was empty. The guest room, the bathroom, the old study. Nothing. She stood at the top of the stairs, heart pounding, then returned downstairs, willing her mind to focus on something mundane. She opened a window, sat at the small kitchen table, and told herself it was stress. Nothing more. The second time it came, it was louder, clearer. Again, Emma, come here. The exact inflection, the same breathy tone she used when coaxing her cat. But there was no pet here. No one else. This time, she didn't go upstairs. Instead, she stayed in the kitchen, pretending not to hear it. But the silence that followed was worse. It felt charged, like the house itself was holding its breath. The air grew thicker, heavier, as if something unseen was moving around her, just beyond her vision. Emma pulled out her phone and opened the voice recorder. The next time the voice came, she'd have proof. It returned in less than a minute, softer this time, almost a whisper, as if from right behind her. Emma, why are you hiding from yourself? She nearly dropped the phone. Her heart thundered, but when she played the recording back, there was nothing, just silence. No voice, no whisper, only the faint rustle of leaves outside and the tap of her own breath. Now she wasn't sure what was worse, the idea that something in the house was copying her voice or that she might be losing her grip on reality. But deep down, she knew it wasn't her head. Something upstairs knew her name. Something that wasn't supposed to exist. And it had just begun speaking. Emma woke the next morning with the uneasy feeling that she hadn't really slept, only drifted in and out of something darker than dreams. Her mind replayed the voice over and over. She wandered the house in daylight, desperate to reclaim a sense of normalcy. That's when she noticed it. A narrow door at the end of the upstairs hallway that she swore hadn't been there the day before. It was old, painted the same faded cream as the walls, its brass knob tarnished with age. She tried to open it. Locked. Her heart beat a little faster. Why would there be a locked door in her aunt's home, one her aunt never mentioned? Determined, Emma searched through drawers, shelves, and dusty boxes until she found a ring of antique keys in the bottom of an old sewing basket. One of them clicked into place. The door creaked open, and the scent of age and disuse swept out to greet her. The room inside was small and windowless, illuminated only by slivers of sunlight piercing to the cracked wooden panels. What struck her immediately was a sheer number of mirrors. Standing mirrors, hand mirrors, even shards of broken ones mounted onto the walls. But one mirror stood alone in the center of the room. It was large, Victorian in design, with intricate carvings swirling along its blackened frame. Unlike the others, it had not collected a speck of dust. She stepped in front of it and froze. The room reflected perfectly behind her, but she was not there. Her body, her face, her movements, none of it showed. She waved her hand. Nothing. It was as though she simply didn't exist to this mirror. Then the voice returned, again her voice, but it came not from the room, but from the mirror itself. Emma, you remember this place, don't you? She backed away, heart pounding. The mirror's surface rippled slightly, like disturbed water. You left something here. Something important. The voice said, do you want to know what it was? Emma stared at the reflection that held no trace of her. The voice wasn't just mimicking her anymore. It was digging into memories. Specific ones. Childhood ones. Things no one else could know. This wasn't a haunting. It was personal. And whatever was in that room had been waiting for her. Emma stood paralyzed at the threshold of the mirror room. Her own voice, more intimate now, more knowing, echoed softly from the glass. The house was no longer just a structure. It felt like a living thing watching her, holding her, waiting for something. She spun around, intended to leave the room, but the hallway had changed. The door she'd entered from was gone, vanished into a seamless wall of old wallpaper. The house had shifted behind her, locking her in. Panic set in. Emma rushed to the mirror, her breath fogging the glass that still refused to show her reflection. The voice called again, this time not as a whisper, but like a memory. Do you remember the attic? You were 5. You told no one what you saw. Her blood turned to ice. The attic. She hadn't thought of it in years. A locked space in her childhood home where once she'd seen something, a figure that looked like her, but wasn't. She'd told no one, not a soul. Yet the voice knew. You locked me away, it said, but now I want to come home. Suddenly, the mirror changed. The surface darkened and revealed a shadowed version of the house, a mirror world. In it stood Emma, or someone who looked like her, but her expression was off. Too still, too empty. The other Emma lifted her hand and reached for the glass. Emma felt her own hand twitch in response. Then came the choice. The voice spoke from all around her now, filling the air like thick smoke. Step through and know the truth, or stay and forget everything again. Emma tried the front door, sealed, windows unbreakable. The sun outside no longer moved. Time was trapped, and so was she. There was no escape, only this decision. She could walk to the mirror and confront whatever lived on the other side. But what if that version of her, whatever it was, stepped out while she was in? Could it take her place? Her mind screamed against it, but her feet moved forward. As she placed her palm against the glass, the mirror shimmered, softening beneath her fingers like water. The reflection, her reflection, smiled. Not a welcoming smile, a claiming one. And then she stepped through. Or something did sometimes. The scariest place to explore isn't a haunted house, but the hidden corners of your own mind. This story explores the idea that what we suppress, ignore, or forget about ourselves can eventually take on a life of its own. Avoiding uncomfortable truths might offer temporary peace, but facing them is the only way to truly escape being haunted, by others or by yourself.